Thanks for watching. I'm John Houston, and in this video, I'm going to be showing you a new addition to my collection. I collect esoteric, arcane, occult books to the extreme degree. I'm going to show you my collection. Let me just film. This is my DeLawrence collection. Huge fan of L.W. DeLawrence. This isn't even all of it. This is just what I was able to fit here because of my cool skull bookends. But I have a couple more DeLawrence books. Here are some books over here. Here are some books here. I don't have all of them on the shelf. Here is the top shelf. And I have a new addition to my book collection. It is entitled A Primer of Spirits by Tucholsky. A phenomenally amazing book. I'm lucky to be the owner, the new owner of the book, A Primer of Spirits by Tucholsky. This is a compendium, volume 1, an amazing book on spirits. It's actually a prop from the TV show The Magicians, one of my favorite shows of all time. Came out in 2015, and it ended in 2020. The show only ran for 5 years, but it was a good 5 years. I've been a huge fan of The Magicians since season 1, episode 1, first airing. I've watched every single episode brand new when they first came out, up until the end of season 4. Then I moved, and I didn't have access to a TV, so I had to watch clips of season 5 until I could watch the whole thing. And it's an amazing show, amazing conclusion, amazing cast. My favorite magicians on the show: Q, Alice, Margot, Elliot, Julia, Katie, Penny. They're all amazing. A Primer of Spirits. I can't believe I am the proud new owner of A Primer of Spirits by Tucholsky. There's a scene, season 1, episode 3, where Quentin Coldwater, sitting there on the couch, him and Alice are drinking a green drink that Elliot made for them. Alice is like, it's too bad. The spell didn't work. I wasn't able to contact my brother. You know, the beast picked up instead of my brother. And Quentin says, have you read Tucholsky? She had not read Tucholsky. This is a huge book. I mean, how many people have read Tucholsky? It's a gigantic textbook. They're fairly new to Brakebills University, the elite magic school. And I now have a Brakebills University magic book. On the back it says 1977, Brakebills University Press. It is highly detailed. This is clearly a hero prop. I don't think there's a second one. I think this is the only one in existence. I've matched it up. It is the one. Quentin Coldwater grabs off the shelf or grabs out of his backpack. We hear a zipper sound. I think that was added for effect because he runs over to the bookshelf and he runs back with this book, which seems lightweight, but it's a heavy book. It's very heavy. It's the typical gigantic textbook you would see in a university. And they're in the physical kids cottage, where the place where the students relax. But there are magic books on the shelf. You can't even take a magic book out of Brakebills. Man, this is phenomenal. This is the most amazing book prop. It's the only book prop. It's the most amazing prop period I've ever owned. I'm a huge fan of The Magicians. My favorite show of all time is 1967, The Prisoner, starring Patrick McGoohan. My second favorite show of all time is Max Headroom, starring Matt Frewer, 1987. But The Magicians is up there as one of my favorite shows of all time. Phenomenal show. The scene. Quentin says, have you read Tucholsky? He grabs this book. He opens it on up. And I didn't know. Nobody knows because we couldn't see what the actor saw. So Quentin Coldwater, the actor, Jason Ralph, grabs this book and says his lines phenomenally. He says, there's a locator spell if the spirit wants to be found. And they get that locator spell from this very book. Even though this book's only visible for 5 seconds or so, it's a key book at Brakebills University. Because Quentin gets the locator spell to try to find Alice's brother with this book. They get a match and they find where he wants to be found at the fountain. And I don't want to spoil anything for anyone who hasn't seen the show. I recommend check out the show. It's on Netflix right now. I'm watching it again on Netflix. It's a very cool show. I'm a huge fan of the show, the actors. I have a piece of the show. I have what I consider to be an amazingly important piece, and especially important to me. See, I'm a spirit investigator. I'm a ghost hunter in real life. Just as a side hobby, okay? But semi-professionally. I have thousands of dollars of ghost hunting equipment. I have thousands of dollars of occult books that aren't just decoration. I do read them for research purposes. The only reason I have any of these books, the only reason I have this equipment, the only reason, whether I had spiritual encounters or not, I'm a huge fan of the show. But this inspires me. The cover inspires me. I've already finished writing a ghost hunting book. I already have the cover pre-made, ready to go, as of a couple months ago. But, for a future book, I can see the need of a Primer of Spirits Volume 1 existing in the real world. And this inspires me for a future book. My first book is going to be on ghost hunting. I already have the title. I have 99% of it written. I'm going to edit it. And then it's done. It's a done deal. I'm going to raise the funds myself, self-publish myself. I'm going to have a hardbound. Not this extensive, not this huge. This is huge. This is a real book inside. So I get to see what Jason Ralph, the actor, saw as he's portraying Quentin Coldwater. When Quentin Coldwater grabs this book, Alice Quinn, she responds by saying, "That's stupid. You're stupid. You have a stupid face." It's a light-hearted, flirty. It's like the first time we ever see Alice's character flirt with Q's character, because being nerdy, out-nerding her with a big book she hasn't read, she's a big nerd. She has read many books. She's A+ student on everything, and she's the Hermione Granger, if you will, of the magicians. She's the genius. She knows everything. She's the most powerful magician by far, except for Q. Q is extremely powerful. Q is kind of like the Harry Potter. So, I'm a huge fan of Harry Potter, but I'm a bigger fan of the magicians, to be honest. I'm a bigger fan of the magicians. Why? I don't know. The characters are more relatable to me, perhaps. It's hard to say. But, even though Narnia and Harry Potter definitely influenced the Magicians comes from a book, and I have not read the books. I will read the books in the future, but I do focus on occult books, non-fiction, spirit-themed books, because I want to know what other experiencers have experienced concerning the supernatural, the paranormal. A Primer of Spirits is the type of book I would pick up if it was real. I understand it's a prop. One of my favorite shows. Very happy to own it. It's almost as if this book was meant to be with me. I'm inspired by even the cover. Don't judge a book by its cover. And I would expect it to be, like a random encyclopedia on the inside or a dictionary, but nope. It's an actual magic book. The prop master clearly took great care in using an actual magic book to be the inside book of a Primer of Spirits. And I haven't read this magic book. Perhaps I'll read it, but I don't want to mess up the prop. This prop is too cool. It's one of a kind. I'm now the proud owner of an actual magic book from Brakebills University. A spell is a form of magic which can be defined as the direction and application of energy using psychic forces at will in order to cause changes for an intended and desired outcome. That's just one of the paragraphs on the back of this book by Tukolsky, 1977, Brakebills University Press. stoked to own this. It is a permanent piece of my collection now, and there is a magic book inside. So it's not just a prop. There is a magic text. There is a magic book inside. Very cool. Happy to have it as a permanent piece of my collection. Never for sale, ever. See, I'm a huge spirit investigator to an extreme degree. I'm a poltergeist investigator. I'm a ghost hunter, if you will. I don't like the term hunting of ghosts because they'll hunt you back. On ghost investigations, I say to the spirits, I come in peace, I will leave in peace. I am here peacefully, I will leave peacefully. I don't have any ill will, and no harm is intended. No disrespect is intended for this investigation. I just want to find out if I can capture evidence of spirits. And many a time, I have captured it. Audio and visual. Audio, I've captured EVPs. I have captured some phenomenal evidence. I've captured a mist-like apparition floating past the camera seconds after I asked, can you make your presence known? At an abandoned building built in the 1830s. Spirits are real, spirits exist, not just a theme for a TV show, but most definitely TV shows and movies are going to draw inspiration from fairy tales, folklore, urban legends, which are not always true. And I can distinguish the difference, all right? I'm not crazy. I can distinguish fantasy from reality, but unlike some viewers, and probably most viewers, of the show The Magicians, I personally believe magic exists. Even a few years ago, in the year 2018, I witnessed levitation firsthand with my very own eyeballs. Now, that's a huge and wild claim, so I understand if you don't believe me. I'm a little bit parched. This is take 2. Take 1, I opened up a bottle of Balls Guaraná energy drink, and I drank the whole thing. Delicious. Balls Guaraná energy drink. I recommend it. If the Balls energy drink people want to reach out to me and give me a free case of Balls energy drink Guaraná, I will happily drink Balls Guaraná energy drink. One of my favorite energy drinks of all time. And I'll freely mention it and show it in my videos and drink it in my videos. Balls Guaraná energy drink, natural caffeine from Guaraná. I found this at a store, picked it up. Delicious. One of my favorite energy drinks, but it's all empty, so now I have to drink something else. A little parched. But I'm going to show you one of my magic pieces of equipment, or ghost hunting pieces of equipment. What's the difference? Ghost hunting, magic, they are intertwined. Here's the certificate of authenticity for my book, Primer of Spirits. It's a great inspiration to me. I'm a semi-professional ghost hunter that really just investigates, doesn't hunt spirits. I know spirits exist, and the reason I have these thousands of dollars of occult books and thousands of dollars of ghost hunting equipment pieces is because of an experience that happened to me in 2010 at an extreme encounter by a negative entity in the year 2010. And then in 2011, I rented a room that was extremely poltergeist haunted. Believe it, disbelieve it, I really don't care. But I wanted to distance myself from it to an extreme degree. 2011 was the height of the attacks that I personally encountered. So 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016. So a good 5 years went by and I didn't research the subject. Sure, I might have Googled it here and there, but I didn't buy books on the subject. Except maybe a few here and a few there. I didn't buy ghost hunting equipment until late 2017, early 2018. So this is a pretty new hobby for me, fairly new, but I've been using it for enough 100 plus hours, 200 plus hours to know how the stuff works, to know what to do and what not to do. For example, don't turn on this stuff in your house. Don't conduct ghost investigations in your house, ever. Do it far away from your house. My first major ghost investigation was a corners of rooms investigation, in the corner of my very room that I slept in. I turned on this very REM pod, and I told ghost stories, real ghost stories, like the Winchester Mystery House. I walked through a little narrow single file room. The entrance of the Winchester Mystery House, at least the regular tour entrance, is in the barn. And then you see the antique wagon that Sarah Winchester used. And then you're taken through single file tiny room. And I felt an extreme, scary, freaky, negative vibe in that room. I told stories of stuff like that happening to me. And a good, 30 minutes of telling these scary stories. For example, I was talking about a scary dream. I consider a demon dream, just a nightmare. This went off in the year 2018. It went off while I was filming with like 3 cameras rolling. And a spirit actually set this thing off. It's all fun and games until 24 hours later, I was going to sleep and a negative spirit walked through my body. It felt creepy, scary, freaky. It was very strong and very menacing. It felt like just really hateful vibes, negative vibes, gross feeling vibes. It felt like a person physically, a non-physical person was just walking through me. Okay? Very scary, very freaky. All right? It was 24 hours after I turned this device on and basically had a digital Ouija session in my room, all right, by myself with 3 cameras rolling. Don't recommend it. Don't do it. Don't investigate in your house. So that's just one piece of advice I leave with you. I have more devices in this case, but I'm not going to talk about those. So I am a ghost investigator. Here's another case number 2. I'm just showing you the background. I'm not willy-nilly telling you I'm a ghost hunter. I actually am. Here we have a nice field meter with volt range, kilovolt range. See, you need sensitive equipment to capture spirit entities, their presence. So kilovolts is important because you're going to need the smallest amount of volts to be captured. Now, what is a volt in regards to a spirit? Spirits can manifest static electricity, and static electricity is measured in volts. That's why a kilovolt meter is very important. And here's a more standard tri-field meter. This is the latest model of a tri-field meter. We have standard magnetic electric, weighted magnetic electric, and radio frequency. I don't think I've had any spirit evidence from radio frequency, but I'm willing to try anything. Scientific data is scientific data. The more data, the better. I approach investigating spirits on a scientific level, try to capture and record as much physical as numbers on a meter as you can get. Scientifically, record at the same places. Yes or no, can you set this device off? Stuff like that. Electromagnetic fields don't intelligently answer yes or no questions, all right? Here we have one of my favorite devices. These are Mel Meters with REM pod features on the top. EMF features are the main features. So it records electromagnetic field and static field. A scientist will tell you those are 2 totally different fields. They can intermingle and be the same field to an extent, but they're 2 totally different fields. So if they're both going off, you're receiving double confirmation. Let's say you receive a yes or no answer, and it goes off to an extreme degree on both static field and EMF field. Electromagnetic fields are measured by milligauss. Static fields are measured by volts. And 2 totally different things, which I have received yes or no answers above and beyond. Intelligent responses using these devices. I know for a fact spirits exist. I wanted to show and prove to the skeptics, but you can never convince someone who already has their mind made up. It's kind of like magic on the show The Magicians. Here we have a geophone. The Magicians, it's just a TV show, but it's an amazing, phenomenal TV show. And in the real world, most watch the show thinking it's mere pure fantasy. And sure, it is. But I do believe magic does exist. A geophone is kind of like a seismograph. It can record, a footstep, tiny tremors like that. It also has a cool EMF meter and a cool temperature meter. I can turn this thing on. Show you it's 71 degrees in here. It's a little bit hot up here, 71 degrees. But those are just some of my ghost hunting pieces of device, just to show you I am a ghost hunter. I have many more. I have thousands of dollars worth. I have 2 more cases. The other case is around here somewhere. The Magicians. I understand it's just a TV show, but I do believe magic is real, okay? Not how it works on the show, but real nonetheless. On the show, they do amazing hand movements. And it's very creative, very phenomenal. Love the show. Love how they portrayed magic on the show. There's an underworld. There are parallel universes. There's a library with its own set of strict rules. There's a poison room with banned books. I kind of like to think of this loft as a poison room. This book collection, many would be considered banned, and I'm sure are in some regions of this planet Earth. And I've been told many times, oh, don't read that. No, read that. Whew. The Book of Black Magic and of Pacts by Arthur Edward Waite. Don't read that. And this is a DeLorean's version. Don't read that. Information is information. Information is neutral. I've been saying that for years. And even on the back of a primer of spirits, it says, magic is a natural, not supernatural phenomenon, though it is understood in this manner by only a few. Through your own dedicated practice and deep examination of these principles, you will be able to define your beliefs about magic and its power in the world. Through the interconnectedness of the magic world and the normal world, in order that we may see that our actions have a direct and tangible impact on that normal world, and that this action is not the result of a psychological trick. Most definitely, this is the most pinnacle, prominent, amazing prop I own. I'm not a huge prop collector. My first prop I ever bought was from the movie Aeon Flux. I bought the belt, I think the hero belt from the bad guy in Aeon Flux, and I used it in my 1.21 Back to the Future music video, and I wore it as Doc Brown's belt when he's in the biohazard suit. I needed a belt that matched that. Had it, I got a really good deal on it. The TV show Black Sails, I acquired both the hero, if you will. It's the close-up, real, good version. And then I also owned this Ankh necklace with the rest of this stuff, like the stunt version. I owned both the hero version and the stunt version. And I wish I didn't get rid of the stunt version, just so I could show you side by side the difference between a stunt version and a hero version prop. This is the hero version I kept because it's so cool. It's not a major piece from the show. It's not from one of the major cast members on Black Sails, the pirate show. But there's a scene where the captain, they board another ship that's abandoned, and they're not sure if there's like a pirate crew hiding, ready to jump out and attack. They're weary of that, and they find out the entire ship is empty, except for a dead captain in the captain's quarters. And what is that dead captain wearing? The dead captain is wearing this very Ankh necklace right here. This leather pouch necklace and this Ankh necklace. So it's just a dead captain necklace in Black Sails, but I thought it was cool. I'm a huge fan of Ankhs. They reused the same necklace twice in the same show. There's a cast member just a pirate, that walks around with this and with this. I think he walked around with all this stuff. The stunt version of this is a plastic ankh, whereas this is a nice metal brass ankh. The beads are cheap like wood and plastic, whereas the real one is a real chicken bone and a real heavy bead. So I wanted to keep the detailed one. I am a huge fan of ankhs. I made this ankh in the year 2018. For my show Mysterialis. Let me just put that right there. I believe magic is real. For example, levitation. I witnessed levitation firsthand. I told you about the REM pod. I set it off with my Corners of Rooms experiment, and 24 hours later, a negative spirit walked through me. Freaked me out, very scary. Well, a couple weeks down the road, maybe a couple months down the road, specifically in April of 2018, I was minding my own business, watching a show on Netflix. I had my headphones on, not these headphones, but similar headphones. I'm just going to reenact it the best I can. In 2018, April of 2018, it was either April 10th or 11th, around 10 p.m. Could have been 10:30, somewhere around there. I was watching a show on Netflix. What show? I can't remember. It was a stupid show. I was just watching it. No big deal. It was a new show. So I could remember if I looked up what were the new shows in April of 2018 on Netflix, but I believe it was this very laptop. It was this very laptop. I was watching a Netflix show. I was on my bed. It was about 10:30 p.m. And I take my headphones off to go to the restroom, to take a bathroom break after watching like 2 episodes in a row of this show. And I take my laptop down like this, and I see something on my desk. This very desk right here, at the last place I used to live at. And what did I see? I saw these very wires levitating about 1.5 feet above my desk. I had these wires sitting on my desk because I was creating synth music for my YouTube channel, which I do. I make my own music for my channel so it doesn't get stricken. And whether you love my music or not, it doesn't matter. It's just there to be cool intro, outro music for me, And I had this hooked up to a mixing board and my keyboard and another keyboard and a drum machine. And I was testing it out, seeing if I could just play them all at the same time. I wasn't having great success. There was static going on. Because these are fairly cheap, $1 a piece wires that I got off of a website. But here is 1 foot. And I remember them about 1.5 feet levitating here. About here. I know you probably can't see it too good, but there was about 8 wires. This many wires. It's possible one of these wires were not involved. I purchased a good like 20 of these wires, and I had about 8 of them on my desk, and these are them. And I saw them levitating about 1.5 feet above my desk. These were levitating above my desk in 2018, April 10th or 11th. What happened was I just lowered my laptop, saw these levitating. And the first thought in my head wasn't that's levitation, because I'd never seen levitation before in my life. I didn't know what levitation looked like. I didn't know levitation was real up until that point, okay? The very first thought in my head was, I don't remember leaving my wires in a pile like that. The second thought in my head was, it's impossible for my wires to be in a pile like that. What is holding them up? What's going on? There are huge gaps of air in between these 8 wires. The third thought in my head was, this is levitation. I am witnessing levitation. The fourth thought in my head was, this is impossible. What is going on? And then they dropped, as if an invisible hand went like this and dropped them. None of them fell on the ground, but they all fell back into their, close to the pile where they were before they were picked up by a poltergeist entity. The same, I believe, poltergeist entity that set off my REM pod during my Corners of Rooms experiment a couple months prior. And when the wires fell, some of them clanked like this. And that's exactly what the clanking sounded like, because this is the exact wire and that's the exact desk. And these are the exact connectors that I used to turn the audio cables from small to big. And so I keep them in a bag now, and I have a label on it. It's a true event. It actually happened. There was a poltergeist in my room. So I saw levitation. Even Penn and Teller have never seen levitation. Even master magicians have never seen levitation. But I've seen it. I witnessed it in 2018. It was about the 10th or 11th. If I do the math and figure it out, I can figure out eventually what the exact day was. I believe it was the 10th. I know I went to work the next day. I know that. It's a true story. It actually happened. I'm not crazy. I understand if you think I'm crazy. I understand if you disbelieve, because it's a phenomenally out there story. But magic does exist. So in my opinion, from firsthand experience, levitation does exist. Supernatural levitation does exist. Magic levitation does exist. But only when a spirit manifests an invisible hand or a visible hand. In the case of what I saw an optically 100% invisible entity picking up my wires and dropping them. I jumped out of my bed. There was an empty basket between me and where the entity would have been standing. So I kicked my empty basket, which was upside down. My upside down empty basket was in the middle of my floor. I kicked it out of the way. I said, "Congratulations, you can move objects." So I was extremely sarcastic and snarky and rude to the entity that was picking up my wires and dropping them, because I felt it was invading my personal private space. The door was closed. No one was in my room but myself. The lights were all on, and I was just watching a show on Netflix. I can't remember the name of the show. It really doesn't matter. I remember thinking, though, I don't want the show I'm watching to be associated with this story, because the show is so stupid. I don't want... Some people read too deeply into things. Like, was I having a traumatic event? No, I wasn't. I was just watching a show, and I was going to take a bathroom break, and I saw a freaking scene of levitation. I do remember that it was shortly before Friday the 13th, because I had a Friday the 13th live stream on my channel, where I do talk, and vaguely and briefly I talk about the incident. But it was so even amazingly out there for me that I knew no one would believe me. To this day, probably few to none believe my story. But it actually happened. It's a true story. And it's the result of basically conducting a Ouija session without a Ouija board, but just with a REM pod ghost hunting device in the corner of my room for over an hour. It lasted about an hour and 20 minutes, something to that effect. The session on episode 1 of Mysterialis, my ghost hunting show, So I do not recommend ghost hunting in your house or anywhere near your house. Do it far away, and it's not for everyone. And can they follow you home? Most definitely they can follow you home. So just don't do it, period. Don't ghost hunt, period. Do not ghost hunt at all. I don't recommend it for anyone. But if you are bothered to the level that I was bothered in 2010 and 2011, that's what spiraled and made me consider, and can I capture evidence? Is it possible? But after, I've been doing this ghost hunting thing since 2018, the full year of 2018. 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021, 2022, 5 years. So I've been ghost hunting a good solid 5 years. And it's not for everyone. It's not even for the few. It's for the minuscule that they want to have a slight edge over the spirit entities that contact them. The slight edge is you can capture evidence and proof occasionally. And with that evidence and proof, you can show it to an extreme skeptic and say, hey, what's this? They'll say, oh, you must have faked it. And you get to, for once in your life, you get to laugh at the skeptic. And you get to say, I didn't fake it. That's the real deal. The fact that you think I faked it makes me laugh. Because I know of a surety. I was just holding the camera and saying, can you make your presence known? And when something actually does happen, which it did happen on a number of occasions, perhaps for another video. Until next time, this has been John Houston, the proud owner of A Primer of Spirits Volume 1 from Brakebills University, 1977. Phenomenal book. So happy to have it. Be seeing you. Stay tuned. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for commenting. More book reviews coming soon. Perhaps I will read this book, but I got to keep it in mint condition. I'm even scared just putting it next to my other books. It needs to be taken care of delicately. It's a one-of-a-kind prop from one of my favorite shows of all time. Until next time, I thank you for watching. This has been John Houston, drinking Balls Guaraná energy drink. Be seeing you.